Quite rainy today, isn't it? Oh, now that I think about it, we have a webinar today about acid rain in our barangay. Do you want to know something about acid rain? Come on, join us in our barangay webinar.
A very pleasant day to everyone in the barangay. Are you curious about acid rain? Do you know the science behind acid rain and how it is formed? Do you know that acid rain can cause harm to humans and surroundings? What can you do to lessen the chance of acid rain? Don't you worry, because Janice is here to teach you everything you need to know about acid rain. What is acid rain? Acid deposition, or mostly called acid rain, means the form of precipitation with acidic components, such as sulfuric or nitric acid, that fall to the ground from the atmosphere as wet or dry deposition. The two components could become a part of rain, snow, fog, hail, or even dust. How is acid rain formed? The emission of chemicals from human activities are released into the atmosphere. Sulfuric and nitric acids are the results of the reaction of the pollutant sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide that binds with water, oxygen, and other chemicals in the air. It will then turn into acid particles that fall on the ground and may cause harmful effects in the biodiversity.
Natural cause of acid rain. Carbon dioxide produced in the decomposition of organic material is the primary source of acidity in unpolluted rainwater. Carbon dioxide reacts with water to form carbonic acid. Carbonic acid then dissociates to give the hydrogen ion and the hydrogen carbonate ion. The ability of the carbonic acid to deliver hydrogen ion is what classifies this molecule as an acid, thus lowering the pH of a solution. Nitric oxide, which also contributes to the natural acidity of rainwater, is formed during lightning storms by the reaction of nitrogen and oxygen, two common atmospheric gases. In air, nitric oxide is oxidized to nitrogen dioxide, which in turn reacts with water to give nitric acid. This acid dissociates in water to yield hydrogen ions and nitrate ions in a reaction analogous to the dissociation of carbonic acid shown in equation 2, again lowering the pH of the solution. Human cause of acid rain. High temperature air combustion such as occurs in car engines and power plants produces large amount of nitric oxide gas. This gas then forms nitric acid. Although sulfuric acid may be produced naturally in small quantities from biological decay and volcanic activity, it is produced almost entirely by human activity, especially the combustions of sulfur-containing fossil fuels in power plants. When these fossil fuels are burned, the sulfur contained in them reacts with oxygen from the air to form sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide, like the oxides of carbon and nitrogen, combines with water to form sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is a strong acid, so it readily dissociates in water to give a hydrogen ion and a hydrogen sulfate ion. The hydrogen sulfate ion may further dissociate to give hydrogen ion and sulfate ion. Thus, the presence of sulfate acid causes the concentration of hydrogen ion to increase dramatically, and so the pH of the rainwater drops to harmful levels.
Harmful effects of acid rain. Acid rain can cause health problems in people. Tiny contaminated particles like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide can cause respiratory diseases or others that are much worse. It can make people with chronic bronchitis or asthma harder to breathe. Nitrogen oxide can cause ground-level ozone that can lead to respiratory problems. The health effects that people have to worry about are when they breathe in these tiny particles or ozone, not in the acid rain itself. Second is that acid rain can harm forests. When it seeps into the ground, It can dissolve nutrients that are needed by plants such as magnesium and calcium. It will make it harder for trees to take up water because the aluminum is released into the soil. Due to the acidic clouds or fogs, the trees in mountainous regions at higher elevations are at greater risk. The acidic clouds and fog can strip nutrients from their leaves and needles. The loss of nutrients easily damages the forest.
Number 3. Acid rain damages lakes and streams. Without pollution or acid rain, most lakes and streams would have a pH level near 6.5. Aluminum that has been released into the soil eventually ends up in lakes and streams. Unfortunately, this increase in acidity and aluminum level can be deadly to aquatic wildlife and other creatures. This problem can become much worse during heavy downpours of rain, known as episodic acidification. Number 4. Acid rain damages buildings and objects. Acid rain can also have a damaging effect on many objects, including buildings, statues, monuments, and cars. The chemicals found in acid rain can cause paint to peel and stone statues to begin to appear old and worn down, which reduces their value and beauty. And a quick trivia on how acid rain ruins statues and monuments. When exposed to acid rain, statues and monuments are often made of materials that corrode. Limestones, sandstones, marble, and granite are some of the examples of these substances. Sulfuric acid is formed when sulfur dioxide in the air reacts with water. A neutralization reaction occurs when sulfuric acid combines with calcium carbonate as rain falls from the sky onto limestone statues. Calcium sulfate is the result of the reaction between the two compounds. Since calcium sulfate is water-soluble, the statue will slowly crumble. In a neutralization reaction, calcium carbonate binds with sulfuric acid yields to the calcium sulfate water and carbon dioxide.
These are the things you can do to prevent acid rain. 1. Reducing pollution. One way to reduce the amount of sulfur dioxide is to use coal that contains less sulfur. Another option is to wash the coal to remove some of the sulfur. The power plant can also install equipment called scrubbers that remove sulfur dioxide from gases leaving the smokestack, because nitrogen oxides are created when burning coal and other fossil fuels. Some power plants are changing the way they burn coal. 2. Conserving resources. Every individual can make an effort to save energy by switching off lights when not in use and using energy-saving appliances. Less electricity means less pollution from power plants. Another is walking, cycling, and sharing cars. This prevents pollution from vehicles. And instead of using fossil fuels, use renewable energy sources like solar and wind power. Renewable energy produces less pollution. And last but not the least, cleaner cars. Cars and trucks are major sources of the pollutants that cause acid rain. Therefore, car manufacturers are required to reduce the amount of nitrogen oxide and other pollutants released by new cars. Catalytic converter has been used for over 20 years to reduce the amount of nitrogen oxide released by cars. Some new cars can also use cleaner fuels such as natural gas. Cars that produce less pollution and are better for the environment are often labeled as low-emission vehicles.
If rain is a confetti from the sky, acid rain acts like a grenade. We humans should make ways to lessen the contribution to acid rain. And that's it for our video for today, and we hope that you've learned something from us. And this has been Jen S. See you next time!
Whoa, that was amazing. I learned new knowledge about acid rain. And I hope that you too learned a thing or more about acid rain.